It's D6 by Certifiable Studios.
Yes.
Yeah, and so to give it its full name, it's
I
D6.
know this one! Dungeons,
Yeah.
Dudes, Dames, Danger, Dice, and Dragons.
Yeah.
God damn it, you stole it. I was going to say that.
And remember to ding my dong!
Got a few extra D's in there.
Yeah, this was one I asked Ben to put in because it's from one of my favorite creators.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from Certifiable Studios. I'm sure I'll let Justin wind on about this in a little bit as well, but I'll just give you my spiel to begin with. This is a game that's a little bit, it's not so much a board game, it's more of an adventure game.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing as a character which you roll up, like a standard Dungeons & Dragons character, for example, and then you'll be heading out into the world to hunt down monsters, steal their bounty, complete quests, come back to town, and be the most glorious in the world.
Oh.
And I because you can screw over your friends, you can send monsters off in different directions and all kinds of things like that. There's some really cool mechanics going into the way that the combat works as well. It's all sort of dice based, but you get loads of different pluses coming in from all the different items you bring with you in the potions you've brewed, as well as some of your skills that are generated throughout character duration and throughout the rest of the game as well. And of course, the monsters can grow and be changed by what's called the Dungeon Master's Book as well. So they've got this is a really interesting, I looked at the game to begin with, and the whole idea of going out and killing all the monsters and stuff was kind of cool. And I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. It's got that kind of like standard feel to it.
Yeah.
But then the really interesting thing to me was when they added in that DM's book, which adds in not only story ties and sort of little hints and encounters, but also ways you can screw over your friends and even more detail.
Oh.
And it's like this little tiny book that you open up and you read a little bit of a passage, and that knoll that you were facing before suddenly now has wings, fangs.
Oh.
It's like a horrible dire version of the character and all kinds of things like that. It looks really fun. The artwork looks superb. The videos on their Kickstarter page about telling you how to play are very, very interesting and very, very funny, and they're very charming too. And they really give you a feel for the mechanics very, very nicely and simply as well. I believe they've got a rulebook up there too, so you can go and check that out as well, which is really neat. But the thing for me that really got this was that it was kind of like a little one of those games that's a bit more of an antidote to role-playing games if you don't get to play them very often.
Yes.
Instead of having to sit down for 4 hours, you can sit down and have a little bit of fun and play out something a little bit more intense than Munchkin, but not as intense as a role-playing session, in about 90 minutes or so, which I thought was really cool.
This sounds fantastic.
I love this. I want this one. I absolutely want this one. I'm actually a really big fan of Munchkin. I know Munchkin has been Munchkin to death.
Yeah,
it has.
But of Munchkin and Munchkin Quest, I am without doubt a fan. I think this is going to be epic.
I still remember how much I enjoyed Munchkin when I first came across it. The problem was I played too much Munchkin. So this looks like it'll give me that same feeling of when I first discovered Munchkin.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a safe bet of a game to add to your collection.
Oh yeah,
to have to be able to just whip out on an evening or a weekend when you have friends over with the family. Yeah. It looks like and I love that addition of the little book. Anything that gives you structured narrative that you can throw in just to take the thinking away, because it's with RPGs, it's difficult sometimes to be able to have all the plot and the narrative and stuff worked out in advance. And not all of us have the creative ability to just sit back and stream out a cohesive narrative just on a whim. So to have little structured things like that, did you know you're not worried about any of that? You're just enjoying the story that they tell as it unfolds. That really suits me.
It's one of the interesting things, because like this game is very much there's a little bit of math involved. You got to do a lot of adding and subtraction and try to work out whether or not you can beat a certain monster with all the plus it has on it and that kind of thing. But then adding this thing, as you say, this narrative aspect of things makes things a lot better. It's something that came across in a lot of other games as well. Like one of the big ones for me is Tales of Arabian Nights, which is a absolutely massive game, and it can all really be distilled down to the numbers, and you can just basically go and do the most optimum things. But because of the book that you get with it that tells you interesting stories every time you sit down to play, it kind of gives you this new and sort of like much grander feel to everything as well. So it's a really big and important part of games like this, where you're trying to encourage a little bit of role playing, a little bit of comedy as well. It's very cool. So.
Okay, like I said,
he hasn't had a chance.
Had a chance to say anything.
Okay, go ahead, Justin.
Like, the things that draw me to this: number one, the art style is absolutely gorgeous. Number two, I have seen the component quality that this company can crank out from Who Goes There, and the mechanics.
Who Goes There? That's the thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Justin
So
is a
it's the same
huge
guys.
fan
I'm
of that
a huge
game.
fan of that game, and same guys. I know what they can do. I know this is going to turn out an epic game. This is one you don't want to miss.
There you go. We let him say something. Okay, 18 days left on that. Go and check it out.